So we're looking at investments today. So when we're looking at investments, we're looking at compound interest investments. So we're looking at compound. So when we're looking at compound investments, we're using a TVM solver. Now, you know when you have to use a TVM solver when you're compounding more than once a year. You could use the formula, but we're encouraged to use technology in this course. Some things you need to understand when it comes to using TVM solver are these points here. Just like with loans, n can never be negative. You can't have negative n. Remember, the only person who can be negative is Dr. Emmett Brown. If you don't know who that is, you've got to watch Back to the Future. PV is a negative value because you are depositing your own money. So it's your own money that you're depositing. Okay, so therefore it belongs to you, it's negative. PMT, well, it's a negative when you are depositing. The majority of the time with investments, it's always going to be a negative. The only time that it's going to be positive is when you're making a withdrawal. And with investments, the only time you make a withdrawal is with superannuation, which is a topic we'll get to a little bit later. And FV, majority of the time, is positive because you're finding a future value of what you want to actually save towards. Now, when we looked at loans, we worked out that to calculate the interest charged, it's all the money paid minus your PV. Well, with interest earned, it's your FV minus all deposits made. And all your deposits can be determined by different avenues. So it can be just your PV only, it could be your PMT only, or it could be a combination of PMT and PV. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to look at a couple of examples of how we use compound interest with our TVM solver, and then we're going to get to some questions. So we've got this first one here. Jamie is thinking about opening an investment account. He has some options to work with. Okay, so here we go. The account he would like to open has an account that compounds monthly and has an interest rate of 4.76% per annum. Jamie decides to invest $300 each month in the account for 3 years. How much would he have in the account at the end of the 3 years? So what we're trying to find here is we're actually trying to find what FV is. And we know FV is going to be a positive value. Because we're using TVM solver, we're going to bring up our TVM solver calculator. So let's have a look at the question. So we know that if we bring this down here, okay, so looking at this, we've got Jamie who wants to invest $300 each month. It tells us at this point here, right here, that it's compounded monthly. It also tells us how many years we have, how much he wants to invest, the interest rate. So we can put all this information into our TVM solver. So we go apps, enter, enter, and we have this here. So let's go right down here and put our information here first. We know this here is going to be 12. And the reason why we know it's 12 is because it's monthly. Remember that CY will change automatically when you change the monthly. We know our interest rate is 4.76, and N, remember that N is equal to the number of years. So in this case, it's 3 times how often you're making those payments. In this case, it's 12. So therefore, we got 36. And we just typed 36 in here. Well, it doesn't want to do as I say. That's because I wasn't on the screen. Okay. Let's now have a look at what we have to put in here. We haven't got a PV, we haven't got a PMT. How do we know we have to put $300 into the PMT? Well, the reason why we know is because it says each month. And remember, PMT are regular payments. So therefore, we come down to PMT, and we're going to put in there minus 300. Okay, remember to use the negative function down here, not the minus, okay, because your calculator won't calculate it properly. So we've got our answers here. Let's now go down to the end, say, yep, done. Come back up to the top to where we want to find FV, because that's what we're trying to find. And remember, you must press alpha and then enter. And what we find is that FV is actually equal to $11,584.53, as it says here. Okay, so we've worked out how much is going to be in the account after 3 years. However, Jamie has decided that he wants to know, he would like to achieve the same amount in 2 years. Okay, so what interest rate does he want? So we need to look at here and say, well, the interest rate is the I value. So if we come back over to this function here, the only thing we need to change is the I, is the N. And instead of having 36, we now have 24. We want to find I, and we press alpha, enter. All right, so it looks like I is equal to 46.87%. Now, I don't know about you, but there's not many institutions that offer that interest rate. So we know he has to offer 46.87%. We're going to comment on this answer. Well, what are we going to say about the answer? What we can say is that this percentage is unrealistic. There is no institution that's going to offer you 46.87% interest in anywhere you find. So that's our first question. Let's have a look at our second example, Sean. Okay. So we've got Sean here, and Sean wants to deposit in an investment account, and he wants to deposit $6,000. The account compounds fortnightly with an interest rate of 7.31%. He would like to double his investment. So he wants to double it. So he wants to make this here $12,000. In order to do that, we have to work out, well, how long will it take him? So because we're asking long, it means that we've got to find n. So let's come back over to our calculator, and let's make this 0 because we're not going to use it in this case. Our interest is 7.31. Our PV, well, because he wants $6,000, that's what we're going to put in our PV. But remember, we want it as a negative value. So negative 6,000. We don't need this anymore, so we can make that 0. We need to make this 26, okay? And because it's fortnightly. So we then come down to end, and we want to work out, well, we're going to put 12,000 in here first because we want to double his amount. We then come up here and we want to find n. So alpha enter, and we get the answer for this first one is 246.8, which is equivalent to about 249 fortnights. Okay, so it's going to take him 249 fortnights to reach his goal of $12,000. Sean's a bit impatient, so he's decided, you know what, I want to help this along. Let's make regular deposits. So regular deposits, again, remember this here is PMT, of $100 each fortnight. So let's come back down to here and type in our negative 300. Okay. We now know that he still wants to achieve this goal. Okay, so it's not negative 300, sorry, it's negative 100, isn't it? So let's go back up to this point here, and we want to find how long, in years this time, it's going to take him to achieve it. We get 48. So let's do part B down here. We get 48.02 fortnights. So we want to round this up to about 49 because he's got into the 49th. Well, to find out how many years, we've got to divide this by how many fortnights there are in 26. So let's just quit this function here and let's type it in. So we've got 49 divided by 26, and we get this answer of 1.885. Well, this means that it's going to take him 1 year. But we've still got this function here. We need to work out, well, how many months out of that year is it going to be? So all we do here is we times this part here by 12, and we get 10 months. So it's going to take him 1 year and 10 months to reach his goal of $12,000 if he deposits $100 each month. So the last question here is, well, how much interest does he earn during this time with his home loan? So let's just clear everything we have here. Again, just make it nice and clear. And let's find that answer out. Remember, we learned before that the interest earned is equal to your future value minus all deposits. Well, in this case, we know that the future value is $12,000. And we want to work out, well, how much are all the deposits? Well, we know that he makes a deposit of $100, and he does that at least 49 times. And he also has a deposit of $6,000. So these are all his deposits. We've got your PMT here, and we've got your PV here. So let's chuck that into the calculator and see what we get. So we get 12,000 minus 49 times 100 plus the original $6,000 that he's invested. That gives us $1,100 interest. So in that 2 years period, he earns $1,100 interest in his account. So that's working with compound interest, where we're starting with an initial investment and starting with nothing, and then having something in there and changing your parameters. I hope that makes sense, and thanks a lot for watching.